Mark your calendars and join us for Malcolm Media's premier ag industry events this November, featuring grower seminars with continuing education credits and an industry trade show. You don't want to miss them.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Ag Network, reporting to you from the annual California Garlic and Onion Symposium in Tulare. One of the keynote speakers today was Aubrey Bettencourt, who addressed growers on the current water situation, the interesting situation that we're in right now with not only severe flood conditions, but still severe drought conditions in certain parts of the state. Here's Aubrey.
Just want to give you a quick update on California Water Year 2017. It is a confusing year as we've come out of 6 years of extreme and devastating drought in California statewide, and now we're facing an abundance of water to the point of where we don't even know where to put it. Our reservoirs statewide are rapidly filling, with the exceptions of a few interesting areas, such as Lake Cachuma down in the Ventura, Santa Barbara area, which is still experiencing dry conditions and water supply issues at the reservoir there at about 17%. But you look at the headwaters of our state, you look at Shasta, which is rapidly filling, you look at Oroville, which of course is now in structural challenges as a result of amazing amounts of rain and snowfall coming in. And then just south of the Delta, the San Luis Reservoir is also filling rapidly as well. So we're in a challenging spot of water everywhere, and where do we put it? And at the same time, we're seeing some interesting things that are helping us out with that. For instance, the WIN Act, which passed at the end of 2016 congressionally, which allowed for increased pumping within the Endangered Species Act parameters, that has been allowing us to take advantage of these rains and snows as its delta inflows have come in and fish species have been away from the pumping mechanisms. We are pumping at maximum levels allowed within the Endangered Species Act, which is allowing us to fill our reservoirs south of the delta, which has been a great opportunity to have in order to help get us out of this drought. Heading forward as well, we're still dealing with the state of emergency of drought conditions as declared by the state of California, and the state of California has just actually extended conservation requirements specifically for the urban sector, but this may have effect on the ag sector as well, saying that we're in at least another 9 months of drought. That executive order and that emergency order allows for the State Water Resources Control Board to maintain its executive authority under drought conditions to manage the water supply. So we're watching key things as the year progresses, dealing with flows on specific tributary rivers such as the Stanislaus, the Merced, and the Tuolumne, and possibly even the Sacramento, where they are expanding the idea or promoting the idea of taking up to 40 to 70% of the flows out of that river, regardless of property right, for fish and water quality issues. So this is something that will be decided in March, and something that growers need to be keeping an eye on, because that will set precedent for how other rivers and systems are managed. But also, if you're in that area, keep an eye on that, because it's going to have a definite impact on you. Looking forward as well throughout the year, we're keeping an eye on other federal legislation that may come into play. With this new administration, it's hard to see what any permanent conditions may be changed. The WIN Act was really just a Band-Aid, how to get through the next 5 years, get us out of a drought condition. But we still have about 24 million people living in drought conditions in California, which is competing with the idea that we have about 50 out of 58 counties in flood conditions. So while the state is creating kind of dueling mandates, the feds may be called in to help in an emergency on a drought, but they still may come in looking for, especially Congress may be coming in, or even the new administration may be coming in looking for new permanent changes to the management of the water supply in California. The question is where that ranks on the priorities list. And as we're still kind of dealing with going from one state of crisis to another state of crisis, where we were in such devastating drought to now really extreme flooding conditions, when will that come up as being able to look at the long-term management issues of California? But I think what we're seeing here is indicative of the long-term issues of California, which is we have an undersized, overtaxed infrastructure that hasn't been updated since the 70s, and now has to feed the largest water user, which it was never designed to, which is these environmental management projects throughout the state, both from a state requirement and a federal requirement. And those are neither wrong nor right, but they are the largest water user, and we never accounted for it when these systems were designed. So it's time we update our infrastructure and use real-time data to get these management programs operating functionally as well, to make sure that they are based on sound science and that they are actually affecting positively the goals they are setting out to achieve. This carries over to as we look towards groundwater issues. SGMA, a Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, is coming online, where projects will be turned into the state board, and if the state board likes it, then you get to manage according to your project. If they don't, they do have the authority to come in and step in and manage your groundwater. This could have dramatic effects on the 118 basins throughout the state, and direct effects on property owners and growers specifically. So please keep an eye on SGMA as that starts to develop, and look at some of the great data coming out of the Department of Water Resources that is providing wonderful tools as these plans are being put together. So I would encourage growers to take a look at that as well. As we head into the year, we may be full of water right now, but because of the competing mandates on our system, both from a state and federal, where these environmental management projects, as well as these, our actual requirement to prioritize our people and our groundwater and our cities and our farms, as they start to compete with each other in the dry seasons, the summers and the falls, it's uncharted territory. We're going to see how these management requirements change. If the effects of the executive orders on the state are still in place, that's going to change the way the water is managed through the year. So keep an eye on the state board specifically. Keep an eye on the feds, if Congress can move very quickly, or even if this administration wants to step in and take action as well. But that's all going to affect how water is managed this year, and we're looking forward to keeping an eye on things as best we can with great partners like the website you're viewing now and the magazines you're viewing and reading now. But you can also check us out at CaliforniaWaterAlliance.org as we keep up with these as quickly as we can for you. So good luck this year, everybody.
Thanks, Aubrey. Well, we certainly hope that legislature will learn from the current experiences we're having with the water situation and prioritize water storage for the future of California agriculture and its citizens. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.